Today I'm going to show you how to make a perfect neck pocket template just using some MDF. So what you'll need is 3 strips of MDF, roughly 3.5 to 4 inches wide and about 12 inches long. You can use 1/4 inch thick for the template we're going to use to make a template, and it's best to use 1/2 inch thick for the actual template that we were going to be cutting. So this is 1/2 inch MDF. This is going to be the main template material that we're going to use as our master template. 1/2 inch thick. It's best to make it at least 12 inches long, and really the width is the most important. You don't want to make it super narrow where your router is going to fall off the edge of it. So I like to make it at least 8 inches wide, just so your template has enough room for the router base to ride on without tilting either way. So the first thing you want to do, make sure your neck pocket heel is already squared up. This is flat on the bottom. It's perfectly square on the sides. What you want to do is just get a rough estimate of how deep you want to go on the master template. So you don't want to go all the way up where the end of your neck heel is going to end up right on the edge of the template. You don't want that. You want some extra room. So go about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and then just mark a rough line for where the end of your neck pocket will be. So this is a set neck. It'd be the exact same for a bolt-on neck with a square heel, if the heel ends just right there, and that's a 1/2 inch radius on each side. I've done it with both bolt-on and set neck. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take one of your pieces of 1/4 inch MDF. Make sure it's perfectly flat on both sides. I just run it on the joiner. You can also just run it across a flat sanding beam. Just pick which side you're going to use, and all we're going to do to start is double stick tape this right up against that line that we made. So if you notice at the bottom, these are not square, and you don't want them to be, because trying to get something perfectly square at the bottom right there in relation to your neck is going to be almost impossible. So what I like to do is I cut a taper going the opposite direction. That way I know that this area right here is coming to an exact point without being off to one side by this potentially not being square to this. So that way we know this goes right down, touches right on the point, and that point right there is the perfect point of contact. Alright, this part is pretty straightforward. I'm going to slide the neck all the way down. Make sure it's flush and square up against this bottom piece of MDF that you put on there. Hold it in place. This piece has double-sided tape on one side. You don't want to just put it flat down to the MDF and then try and line it up like that, because the tape will stick and just drag around. So what I like to do is I like to put it up here first and slide it down along there and push it straight down. Okay. Square on this side, square on this side. Same thing with this side. Hold the neck in place, slide it down, make sure there's no gaps along either side here, because it is easy to have it touch too soon before it's up against the neck, and it'll be off to one side, which will give you a gap in the neck pocket. I just like to push them inward toward the neck just to make sure that double-sided tape is seated and that it's holding right up against the neck. This initially will not be so tight that the neck will hold itself in or get stuck. It should just make contact. You can see, like right there, it's just making contact. That's perfect. So now all we're going to do is we're going to cut some of the rough excess out of the neck pocket on the bandsaw. You don't have to get too close. The router will take care of most of it because MDF route's fairly easy. So we're just going to cut within about 1/16 of an inch of the edge, just to remove most of it before we route the actual neck pocket. And here it is with the excess cutout of the middle there, and we will move on to routing. Throughout this we just have a standard 1/2 inch wide by 1 inch long bearing router bit. And here's what we're left with. A neck pocket with the exact taper of the neck. Perfectly straight sides, perfectly straight bottom. And so there's just one thing left to do. Obviously these edges are square and these are a 1/2 inch radius. You can round these to a 1/2 inch radius before you do the template. I used to do it like that. I prefer to have everything square while I do the template. So what you do, really simple, just slide the neck template on top. Obviously it won't go all the way down. Just make sure the bottom of the template here is right up against the end of the neck there, and just trace the 1/2 inch radius on there. And what I do is I just run over on the disc sander and just round them off and then clean it up by hand. Alright, so we got these rounded to the 1/2 inch radius. Let's see how it fits. Perfect. These 0 gaps around. That's exactly what you want. Alright, and that's how I do it. The only thing left to do before I route the neck pocket is to find the center line of the neck pocket template, which I'll just use a straight edge along each side all the way down, find the center of that, and that'll be the center line for the body. Hope this helped, guys.